We now hold those orphan drug designations, so that market exclusivity incentive now belongs to CNS, which is a great step forward in the process. We want to see this drug in the hands of patients and clinicians, and of course, we want our shareholders to be rewarded, for the efforts that it's going to take to get this drug approved.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us for another Virtual Investor What This Means segment. My name is Janine Thomas. I am CEO of JTCIR, and I will be the moderator for today's event. I am very pleased to be joined by John Climaco. He is Chief Executive Officer of CNS Pharmaceuticals. Welcome back, John.
Thanks, Janine. Always great to be here.
Well, always happy to have you. And before we get started, I just want to remind our audience that CNS Pharmaceuticals is publicly listed on NASDAQ and trades under the ticker CNSP. And during today's discussion, the company will be making forward-looking statements, and I encourage everyone to view the company's latest SEC filings on their website at cnspharma.com for the latest information. All right, John, we're going to dive right in here. So you recently announced that the company received Orphan drug designation for your novel late-stage Abeotaxane, which you call TPI 287. So to set the stage, can you give a brief overview of TPI 287?
Sure. Let me just first start by reminding everyone, what we're all about at CNS. So we are a neuro-oncology focused drug development company. That's what we've been doing since we started the company about 7 years ago. We are absolutely laser focused and remain so on our mission to move the needle for treatment of some of the most devastating cancers, difficult to treat cancers such as glioblastoma, both in adults and in children. So this drug, recognized now as an orphan drug, really is targeted for these very difficult to treat cancers. And what's so special about this, I think, for us is that it provides that incentive that companies need to work in these very small disease states like glioblastoma, which only affects about 15,000 cases in the US each year. Sadly, almost all of those are fatal. This is just a devastating cancer. And so the recognition here gives us 7 years of market exclusivity from approval of this drug for treatment of these cancers. And that's really what we're going to be working on now for the foreseeable future, is moving this drug through the testing and approval process.
Great background, John. So this is a What This Means segment. So what does the receipt of orphan drug designation mean for your TPI 287 development program and strategy?
Sure. So this drug was originally sponsored by Tapestry Pharmaceuticals, and then Cordis moved it through several phase 1 and phase 2 studies. As I said, this drug's been tested in over 350 patients to date. We now hold those orphan drug designations, so that market exclusivity incentive now belongs to CNS, which is a great step forward in the process. We want to see this drug in the hands of patients and clinicians, and of course, we want our shareholders to be rewarded, for the efforts that it's going to take to get this drug approved. So it's a critical step for us in the development process. And now we are really moving forward confidently, both on the CMC side and on the regulatory side, moving into the next, phase of development where we're really focused 100% on this drug and its development.
Well, congratulations on that great step forward for this program. Speaking of investors, you had mentioned shareholders. So what's next for your TPI 287 program, and why should investors be excited?
Yeah, so I think what investors should be excited about here are several things. First of all, uh, you know, I'm sure our investors know, right? You don't just invest in an asset; you invest in the team. So one of the things about this team is, we have demonstrated over the years that we've been working in this space. First of all, a total commitment to it, which you don't find in very many companies. Secondly, I think we've conclusively demonstrated our ability to execute and deliver large scale global clinical trials in this very difficult to work space. We've done that for years. That is exactly what we're doing here. And I think bringing the orphan designation now so early in the program shows just how quickly we were able to pivot from one program to the next. And I think that's key for investors, because a lot of companies, I would say, would take a long time to ramp up into a program like this. But the beauty of our focus is that everything that we have done in the last 7 years in terms of building out our clinical network, building out our relationships and our CMC expertise, building out our regulatory understanding in this space, all of that can be ported to our program with TPI right now. And that really tells investors, I think, that there's not a lot of slack time on our calendar. We delivered some trial results about 6 weeks ago. We have now pivoted the company to another program in this same state really seamlessly, and you can see that already in the achievement of this transfer of orphan drug designation. And what I think investors can get excited about in the future is that back in the clinic is a near-term reality for this program. We have set internal goal for our ability to consent a first patient in the next trial for TPI before the end of the year. So incredibly fast transition from one major program to the next, and we expect to dose a first patient on TPI in the first quarter of 26. So what we are all about is speed and efficiency. We have demonstrated that, I would say, conclusively again in running a global clinical trial in the past. We're taking all that expertise, all that experience, and bringing it to bear in a new program, but right in the same space, right in the same sweet spot of our expertise. And I think that we have said for a long time, there's no magic bullet for glioblastoma, sadly. There just won't be. This is a type of cancer that does not lend itself, we believe, to an exclusively targeted approach. It is going to require a broad approach of the kind that we are developing, and our ability to stay focused in this space, to commit all of our resources to it, we believe eventually is going to produce a key building block in that one size fits all treatment that these patients desperately need.
John, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that background. Congratulations again. Can't wait to have you back on your progress. This really is very encouraging for the GBM community as a whole. And to answer my question from before, very exciting for investors. So a lot for investors to follow. And with that, this concludes CNS Pharmaceuticals, What This Means segment. I'd like to thank John Climaco of CNS Pharma for joining us today. I'd also like to thank the audience for watching. And if you like what you saw today, I encourage you to visit the company's website at cnspharma.com for more information. Also follow their social channels on LinkedIn and X to stay current on the latest information. Thanks everyone for joining, and wishing you a great rest of your day.